Christmas Eve had always been my favorite day, until last year. Now, every twinkling light feels like a reminder of what I lost. It's been 3 years since my ex-husband Daniel remarried. He has a perfect little family now, a big suburban house, a wife who bakes cookies, and a stepson who calls him Dad. But what hurts most isn't the divorce. It's the way my daughter, Lila, keeps getting smaller every time she returns from his house. Quieter, dimmer, like someone stealing her light, bit by bit. This Christmas was supposed to be Daniel's turn. I told myself to be strong, to let her go, enjoy it. But something in me twisted as I watched her climb into his car. She looked back once, her big brown eyes filled with something I couldn't name. Fear? Sadness? I couldn't tell. "Have fun, baby," I said, forcing a smile. She didn't answer, just nodded and clutched her little stuffed bear. That night, I tried distracting myself, wrapped gifts, made cocoa, played an old Christmas movie. But every few minutes, I found myself glancing at my phone. No messages from Lila. At 8 p.m., I finally texted Daniel. "Hey, just checking in. Is Lila okay?" No response. I imagined her sitting in that big house, surrounded by people who weren't hers. His new wife, Carla, always seemed polite in public, the kind who smiled wide, but whose eyes didn't. Once, Lila had whispered, "Carla doesn't like me touching the Christmas tree." When Daniel finally replied at 10 p.m., it was short. "She's fine. Don't worry." Something in my gut said otherwise. That night, I dreamt of Lila standing in the snow. She was barefoot, hugging her teddy bear, while behind her, a warm light glowed through a window, laughter echoing faintly. She looked at me and said, "Mommy, they forgot about me." I woke up with tears on my face. It was just a dream, I told myself. Just nerves. But when I checked my phone again, there were still no messages. Not even a photo. By morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided I'd drive to Daniel's, just to drop off a gift I'd forgotten. That was the excuse I'd tell myself. But in truth, I needed to see her. The snow had started falling heavier as I drove through the winding streets toward Daniel's new neighborhood. Christmas decorations glowed in every yard. Fake Santas, reindeer, blinking lights. But his house stood out. Bright, perfect, full of life. Through the front window, I could see shadows moving, laughter spilling out into the night. I parked down the street, my heart pounding. I felt ridiculous, like an intruder in my own child's life. Then I saw her, Lila, sitting on the porch steps, alone. Her little hands were wrapped around her knees, her pink jacket barely zipped. Snowflakes stuck in her hair. She wasn't crying, just staring blankly at the ground. "Lila," I called softly, stepping closer. Her head jerked up, and when she saw me, her lips trembled. "Mommy?" I rushed forward and scooped her into my arms. She was freezing. I could feel her shivering through her jacket. "What are you doing out here, sweetheart? Where's everyone?" Her voice cracked. "They're inside. I wasn't supposed to come in. Carla said I make too much noise." For a moment, I couldn't speak. Inside, through the window, I could see Daniel and Carla, laughing with their son, passing around presents, and my daughter, outside in the snow. I carried Lila to the door, my anger trembling just beneath the surface. When Daniel opened it, the warmth and laughter behind him spilled into the cold air, along with the smell of cinnamon and pine. He blinked in surprise. "What are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing," I said tightly. "Why is our daughter outside?" He frowned. glancing at Lila. She was just playing. Playing, I snapped. Daniel, she's freezing. Carla appeared behind him, holding a mug of cocoa. Oh, don't be dramatic. She said she wanted to look at the snow. I looked at Lila, whose eyes dropped instantly. Is that true, baby? She hesitated, then whispered, I didn't want to bother them. The silence that followed burned worse than the cold. Daniel sighed, rubbing his temples. Look, it's Christmas. Let's not do this now. She's fine. I felt something inside me snap. No, she's not fine. You don't get to make her feel like a guest in her own father's home. Carla rolled her eyes. You're making a scene. I stared at her, at the perfect curls, the manicured nails, the smug smile. And for the first time, I realized how small she'd made my daughter feel. I pulled Lila closer. We're going home. Daniel's expression hardened. You can't just... Watch me, I said, and walked away before my tears could show. Lila sat in the back seat, clutching her teddy bear. The streetlights blurred through the windshield as I tried to steady my breathing. After a few miles, she spoke softly. Mommy, did I do something wrong? My hands tightened on the wheel. No, baby, you didn't do anything wrong. But Carla said I'm not fun like Tommy. She said Daddy likes quiet. My throat ached. Lila, listen to me. You are enough, just the way you are. She looked out the window. Then why does it feel like I'm invisible there? I couldn't answer, because deep down, I had once felt invisible there too. When we got home, I made her hot chocolate and wrapped her in a thick blanket. She finally smiled when I let her top her cocoa with way too many marshmallows. We sat together by our small fireplace, not grand like Daniel's, but warm in a different way. Can we still have Christmas, even if it's not Daddy's turn? She asked. I brushed her hair back. Of course. Christmas doesn't need turns. It needs love. We opened one of her gifts early, a music box shaped like a snowflake. When it played, a soft tune filled the room. Leela's eyes sparkled again, just a little, and I realized sometimes the smallest home can hold the biggest warmth. Just as Lila was drifting to sleep on the couch, my phone buzzed. Daniel. I hesitated, then answered. Where are you? He demanded. You can't just take her like that. She was freezing outside your house, Daniel. He paused. She said she wanted space. Carla said she was fine. Carla, I spat, isn't her mother. And if she can't show basic kindness to an 8-year-old, maybe she shouldn't play pretend. He went quiet. I could hear the faint crackle of his fireplace through the phone. Finally, he said, You always overreact. I looked at Lila sleeping peacefully beside me, her small hand curled around her teddy bear. No, I whispered. I just finally stopped pretending. I hung up. And in that quiet room, I promised myself something. This Christmas, Leela would never feel forgotten again. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the curtains, catching the shimmer of frost on the window. Lila was still asleep on the couch, her cheeks pink and peaceful. I watched her and thought of all the Christmas mornings I'd dreamed of giving her. The laughter, the stockings, the smell of pancakes. But most of those mornings had been quiet, just the two of us. As I started breakfast, I heard soft footsteps. Morning, Mommy, she murmured, rubbing her eyes. Morning, my love. Her small voice broke my heart. Do we have to go back to Daddy's later? I crouched down beside her. Not today. Today, it's just us. And for the first time in years, her smile came easily, bright and unguarded. After breakfast, Lila went to her room to play. I stayed behind to clean the kitchen, and that's when I found it. A crumpled piece of paper sticking out of her backpack. It was a letter, written in her messy handwriting, the kind only a mother could read. Dear Santa, I don't want toys this year. I just want Daddy to see me. Sometimes when he laughs with Tommy, I try to laugh too, but he tells me to quiet down. I try really hard to be good, I promise. Maybe if I was more fun, Daddy would let me sit by the fire too. But if he can't, that's okay. I just want Mommy to be happy. Love, Lila. I sank into a chair, my hands trembling. How long had she been carrying that kind of pain? In silence. I knew then that I couldn't just let it go. Something had to change. Later that day, a knock startled me. When I opened the door, Daniel was standing there, looking more tired than angry this time. Is she here? He asked quietly. She's inside, I said, crossing my arms. He hesitated before stepping in. I came to apologize. Carla told me what happened last night. She admitted she might have gone too far. Might have, I snapped. Daniel, she left your daughter outside in the snow. He winced. I know, I should have noticed. But then Lila appeared at the doorway, her small voice cutting through his excuses. Hi, Daddy. He froze. And in that moment, for the first time, I saw guilt in his eyes. He knelt down to her level. Hey, sweetheart. I'm sorry about last night. She tilted her head, her innocence sharper than any accusation. Did you have fun without me? Daniel's lips parted, but no words came. I watched you through the window, she continued softly. You looked happy. Her honesty hit him like a punch. He reached for her hand. Lila, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel left out. She looked down. It's okay. Mommy says love can get lost sometimes. Her words hung heavy in the air, and for once, Daniel didn't try to defend himself. He just nodded, because she was right. After a long silence, Daniel finally said, I want to make it right. Can we all have Christmas dinner together tonight? At your place? I blinked. You mean, with Carla and your son too? He nodded slowly. If you're okay with it. I think Lila deserves a real Christmas, one where she belongs. I hesitated. The idea of sharing space with Carla made my stomach twist. But then I looked at Lila, her cautious hope lighting her face. All right, I said finally, for her. Because sometimes forgiveness isn't for the ones who hurt us. It's for the ones watching how we handle the hurt. That evening, I cooked everything I could think of. Mashed potatoes, glazed carrots, even a roast I hadn't made in years. I wasn't trying to impress them. I just wanted warmth. When Daniel arrived with Carla and Tommy, the air was thick with awkwardness. Carla avoided my eyes. Tommy clung to her leg. But then Lila came out in her red Christmas dress, holding a tiny plate of cookies. Hi, Tommy, she said shyly. I made these for everyone. The boy's face lit up. Thanks. And just like that, something softened, a tiny bridge forming between what was broken. After dinner, the kids played by the fireplace, giggling as they built a little pillow fort. Daniel watched them, quiet for once. Then he turned to me. I read her letter. My breath caught. What? She showed me before we came. I didn't know she felt that way. His voice cracked slightly. I thought giving her things would make up for time, but she didn't need gifts. She just needed me. I looked at him, really looked, and saw a man realizing too late what mattered most. Then start now, I said gently. She still believes in you. As the night deepened, Carla stood and cleared her throat. Lila, she said, I owe you an apology. The room went still. I was wrong. I I let jealousy make me unkind. You're a wonderful little girl, and you deserve to be loved, not just tolerated. Leela blinked up at her, then slowly smiled. It's okay. I forgive you. Tears welled in Carla's eyes as she hugged her, and for a fleeting moment, it felt like the world stopped spinning in chaos and started healing instead. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. After everyone left that night, I tucked Lila into bed. Snow had started falling again, soft and silent outside the window. Mommy, she murmured, this was the best Christmas ever. Yeah, I smiled. What made it so special? She thought for a second. Because everybody finally saw me. My heart swelled. I kissed her forehead and whispered, never forget, baby. Even when the world doesn't see you, I do. Downstairs, the fire was still glowing, gentle, warm, alive. And I realized the miracle wasn't that everything got fixed. It was that love still found its way back through the cracks. A year later, the photo on our mantel shows all of us, Daniel, Carla, Tommy, Lila, and me, bundled up in scarves, laughing as snowflakes fell. No one's pretending to be perfect anymore. But there's peace. Daniel spends more time with Lila now, real time. Carla helps her with crafts. Tommy calls me Auntie, and every Christmas, we gather by that same fireplace. Not his, not mine, just ours. Because sometimes, family isn't about who gets which turn. It's about who chooses to show up, even after they've failed. I look at Lila, her face glowing in the firelight, and think back to that cold night she sat alone on the porch. That was the night everything changed. Not because of anger, but because of love strong enough to demand better. As the snow falls outside, I whisper to myself, Merry Christmas, my little girl. You'll never be forgotten again.